Hi guys, it's Hinda and welcome to Cooking Fantasies. Today's video is a very delicious recipe. We're going to be making French madeleines. Madeleines are these delicate and flavorful butter cakes, a classic in French pastry, and they are known for their beautiful and distinctive shell-like shape. Also, a good madeleine must always have a signature hump. I'm going to show you today how to get the perfect madeleine with a signature hump and a beautiful shell pattern. In today's video, and since I'm making madeleines for the first time in the channel, I decided to keep it simple and make them basic butter flavored, but of course you can add any flavor that you like. We're going to talk about this later in the video. And before we start, like always, I'm going to be leaving you down in the description box all the ingredients you're going to need in both the grams and the cups measurements, as well as a link to the full recipe where you can also print it. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the little bell to get notified whenever a new video is up, and let's get baking. With today's recipe, you can get between 24 and 30 madeleines. And I'm going to use a hand mixer. Of course, you can use a stand mixer. I'm gonna first start by working or mixing the butter with the white sugar. And as you see, the butter should be very soft but not totally melted. To the soft butter, I'm going to add the white sugar, and I also have some vanilla infused sugar. You can use vanilla extract. And using my hand mixer, I'm going to work the butter, sugar and vanilla until it becomes creamy. Don't forget to use a scraper or a spatula to get all the sides from time to time, and keep mixing until the mixture becomes creamy, the sugar starts melting, and you will see that it's turning white or pale. It's gonna take probably between 7 to 10 minutes, so if you're using a stand mixer, this could be easier. And now at this point, I'm going to start to add the eggs one at a time while continuously mixing. After incorporating all the eggs, at that point you can add other flavors if you like to. You can add zest of 1 lemon, orange, grapefruit. You can add a tablespoon of caramel, maybe some orange blossom water. It's up to you. These are of course just suggestions. You can flavor them however you like, but since I'm going to be adding some white chocolate later, I wanted to keep them simple with just vanilla and butter flavor. Now that all my eggs are in the batter, I'm going to add the milk. That should be in room temperature, and mix again until it's incorporated. And finally, I'm going to sift in my dry ingredients directly into the mixing bowl. And actually the two dry ingredients are simply flour and baking powder. So you can use either all-purpose flour or cake flour. And then use just a spatula to gently fold the flour and baking powder into your batter. After I have incorporated the dry ingredients, the batter is ready, and I'm going to place it in the refrigerator to set or to chill for minimum 1 hour, and you can even leave it overnight. I have this beautiful madeleine baking tray. It has these beautiful shell patterns and it's already non-stick. They usually are non-stick, but it's always better to brush them with some soft butter to avoid them from sticking, or at least this helps get all the nice shell patterns. So using a pastry brush and very soft butter, I'm going to brush my baking tray. Make sure to get all the corners and the details. After taking the butter from the refrigerator, it's going to be of course cold, and since it contains a lot of butter, it's gonna get firm. To fill the Madeleine forms, you have many options. You can either use a small ice cream scoop, which is probably the best way to do it because at least you know that you have the same amount of butter in each Madeleine. You can use a simple tablespoon, any tool to scoop the butter and place it into the tray, or you can try, like I did, to pipe it out, which obviously didn't work so good at the beginning because my butter was still very cold and firm. And since they're still going to rise, make sure not to fill them all the way up. About the 3/4 is good. And now it's time to talk about this beautiful hump on the back because a good Madeleine should always have one. The key to this hump is simply a heat shock. So the batter should be very cold and the oven very hot. You're going to preheat the oven to 220 degrees Celsius. That's 428 degrees Fahrenheit. Make sure you're preheating the oven at least 10 minutes before you place the tray, and it should be very hot. And this is how you will do it. As soon as you place the Madeleine's tray in the oven, you're going to set your time to 5 minutes. So it's going to bake in this temperature, 220 degrees Celsius, 428 degrees Fahrenheit for 5 minutes. You're gonna see these beautiful humps forming. It's so satisfying. Once the time is up, you're going to lower the temperature to 200 degrees Celsius, that's 392 degrees Fahrenheit, and bake for a further 5 minutes. So the total baking time is 10 minutes, 5 minutes in high temperature and 5 minutes in a lower temperature. Sometimes it could only take between 8 to 9 minutes depending on your oven, so you know they're ready when the humps stop forming and you see this beautiful golden line all around the edges. And you can immediately unmold them as soon as you take them out of the oven. You will have this beautiful shell pattern on one side and the hump on the other side, just perfect. And their taste and smell amazing because of all the butter and the vanilla. The whole kitchen smells so good. Since this recipe makes 2 batches, unless you have a bigger tray of course, you can either bake the second batch right away or you can keep it in the refrigerator for up to 3 days. What I like to do with the second batch sometimes is to fill the tray already with the batter, then keep it in the refrigerator until I need to bake it. This is really perfect when you have people over or you want to make things in advance, then you have it ready in the refrigerator. You simply preheat the oven, you pop the tray in, and 10 minutes after you have these amazing fresh butter cakes. The Madeleines are basically ready, you can enjoy them right away, but since I only added vanilla flavor, I'm allowed to add a little bit of chocolate. I like to add a very thin layer of chocolate because not only the flavor, but it adds a really nice crunch to the bites. It's beautiful. And for this, I simply melted some white chocolate and I'm going to pour it directly in the tray where I bake the Madeleines and add the Madeleines to them. Of course, you can use milk chocolate, dark chocolate, whatever you prefer. I'm only going to do this to the half of my Madeleines just to show you how to do it. After adding the chocolate to all the Madeleines, I'm going to place it in the freezer for about 30 minutes. As soon as you take it out of the freezer, after 30 minutes, they're going to come out perfect. And for the second batch, I simply dipped one side of the shells or the Madeleines in the white chocolate and I added a little bit of praline or crunchy nuts. You can add anything that you like. Another option would be to simply glaze them with icing sugar and some drops of lemon or orange, or just drizzle some chocolate. You can do whatever you want. It's your Madeleines, your rules. This is a foolproof recipe and I think I provided you with everything you need to know to make the perfect Madeleines in terms of shape and flavor. And if you haven't had a Madeleine before, go ahead and make some. They are absolutely a delight, so delicious, flavorful, and a perfect, amazing texture. To make things easier, you can use the same recipe and bake them in a cupcake form. You won't have the shell shape, but you still have very delicious buttery cakes. In the future, I will be sharing more recipes, how to make Madeleines with different flavors, textures, marbled Madeleines, and many beautiful and delicious things. I hope you liked today's recipe, and I really hope that you will try it soon. If you do, please let me know how it turned out. If you still have any questions, don't hesitate to ask me down in the comment section, or make sure to check out the link where there will be all the instructions written down. I thank you for watching and I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the little bell, and see you soon in a new video. Happy baking!